All right, what's going on YouTube? We're going to talk about tariffs. We're not going to be talking about it from a political standpoint. It's not what we do here on this channel. We're going to be talking about these tariffs from the standpoint of an investor. Because as we've seen, these things, the politics, the geopolitics, the tariffs, all of these kind of things do affect us in the stock market as investors. It affects crypto. As we've seen over the weekend, crypto had a big drop off. Stocks, you know, have some red. It's not as massive as people thought it was going to be. It's not that bad. And even then, when you see even some of the stocks like XRP drop down, people are buying those dips. And that's part of what I want to tell you guys is when we have a lot of market uncertainty, when we have a lot of negative sentiment, when we have things going on politically, geopolitically, tariffs, trade wars, whatever it may be, you have to know how to navigate those waters as an investor. This is something that we were talking about last year because we know that Trump has been a big proponent of tariffs. We know that this is something that he's been talking about, something that he's been serious about. He already was in talks with Canada, with China, with Mexico. And we already know over here in the US, we import a lot of goods. We are import reliant. We rely on Canada, China, Mexico for a lot of the goods that we get over here that we get over here in the United States. And there's kind of we're so intertwined, all of us together. We all need each other. So when you have these trade wars, tariffs, it affects all parties involved from an economical standpoint. It raises the price of goods, it raises the price of services, that price tag when you go to the grocery store, when you go to buy a car, when you go to buy a home. It can accelerate the cost of all of those things. And when you have, inflation rising, people not able to afford the cost of living, that's not necessarily good for the stock market. That's not necessarily good for investing in theory. On the other hand, you have to look at it as, when you have a lot of this uncertainty, when there's extreme fear in the market, we talked about looking at the VIX, CNN's fear and greed index. We talk about these things. When there's extreme fear in the market, when there's uncertainty, when people are panicking, I need you to have been extremely I need you to have been informed on what you're investing in. I need you to have strong convictions. I need you to believe in the CEO, the company, the moat. I need you to know about their financials or guidance. As you know, we're in earnings season. We're having a lot of earnings come out. We got Palantir coming today, AMD, I believe, coming in a day or two. I need you to be paying attention to these things. So, because a lot of the things that are going on in the short term, like these tariffs, like other things, a lot of it is short term noise. When you invest for the long term, a lot of you'll go through these ups and downs, but, when you're able to hold, when you're able to increase your positions, when we have, some of these big drops, 10, 15, 20% drops, when you're increasing your position over time, you're holding for the long term, and you're not getting shaken out by the news. You're not getting shaken out by things like DeepSeek. You've seen a lot of people selling. And I didn't. You already know my stance on that. I didn't understand it. It's kind of the same sentiment that I have when in regards to these tariffs. I don't believe that this is something that's going to be an issue long term. I think this is more so a bargaining chip as we see how it's playing out with Mexico. And as we've already seen, the tariffs that were supposed to be implemented on Mexico, they've been put on pause. They've been put on pause. So I believe if Canada, comes around and they're willing to negotiate and they can find some type of agreement, those things will be, kind of settled down. And we'll see what happens with China, man. China's one of our biggest ops. So we'll see what happens with China. But let's listen to this video for a little bit.
Just moments ago, Mexico's president said they have reached a deal to pause those new U.S. tariffs by a month. Let's go back to NBC's Gabe Gutierrez at the White House. Our Brian Chung's also still with us here on set. Gabe, what more can you tell us?
Hi there, Anna. Well, these are very fast-moving developments, and also we just heard from the president within the past few moments on social media as well. But first to the social media posting from the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum. She just said that Mexico will send 10,000 members of its National Guard to its border with the United States to prevent the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. The Mexican president also said that the U.S. will work to prevent arms trafficking into Mexico, and as a result, they are pausing tariffs for 1 month. Now,
Okay, so Trump's getting what he wanted. He's getting what he wanted. And, we'll see if Canada comes around and does the same thing. But, for now, the tariffs are averted when it comes to Mexico, which is good, for us, which is good for them because we get a lot of things from Mexico: automobiles and automotive parts, electronics, machinery and equipment, oil and petroleum products, agricultural products, manufactured goods, medical devices and pharmaceuticals, aircraft and aerospace parts, minerals and metals, textiles and leather goods. We are a company that relies heavily on imported goods, and tariffs are good for nobody. Tariffs are good for nobody. So we'll see how this pans out. But you know, I never give you financial advice. I'm always transparent about things that I'm investing in, why I may be investing in them. I'll tell you this, for my new investors, if you've been investing for, any period of time, I'm sure you already know this. I'm sure you're already taking advantage of these opportunities. When you have fear in the market, when you have uncertainty, when you have times like this, when you have economical events, political events, geopolitical events happening, and you see pullbacks, 15, 20, 25, 30% pullbacks, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto. If it's a company that you believe in, if it's a company you've done your research in, it's a company that you are willing to, ride the highs and lows with them. You're willing to invest in that company for the long term. You believe in, you know, what they're trying to do. You believe in the company, you believe in the CEO, you believe in the moat. You think this is a good company. I need you to have a long term mindset. I need you to have a long term mindset. Yes, pay attention to what's going on in the short term. Pay attention to the news. Pay attention to all of the things that are happening that can affect the stock, but have a long term mindset. When you're talking about these tariffs, when you're talking about DeepSeek last week, a lot of this stuff is short term noise. Short term noise. We may not be talking about tariffs a year from now, 2 years from now, you know? And when you're talking about some of these amazing companies, they're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? They're not going anywhere, and I need you to understand that, especially if you're a new investor. But that's essentially just what I want to let you know when it comes to these tariffs is don't get shaken out. You know, don't don't be one of the people that you bought the stock for a reason. You bought the stock for a reason. Just because tariffs come about, just because the market's falling, that should not change your sentiment on the company. The company didn't change, the circumstances did. And just because the circumstances did, you have to still have faith and belief in your CEOs that, they'll adjust, that they'll make the right moves. You gotta have strong convictions in those things in order to last in the markets, in order to be profitable from a long-term standpoint. You can't get shaken out. You can't be jumping in and out of your position, selling on the drops, locking in those losses. But that's just what I want to let y'all know. That's what I want to let y'all know. We'll be following these tariffs. Palantir is doing earnings later on today, so we'll be tapping into that. But yeah, that's what we got, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all who rock with me. Thank you all who watch the videos, who like, who shared. Again, follow me on Twitter and Investing OTC. I talk a lot. I yap all day about stocks and all of that kind of stuff over there. But I'll see you guys in the next one.